welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an excellent day today. I know that I am. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the story writing ideas tag. I was tagged by Venti, and her channel is called Caught Between the Pages, and I will link her video down below as well as the original creators. So let's go ahead and dive into this tag. Question number 1, what is the current story idea that you are working on? And for me, it is my project called The Tea House. And I came up with this idea because my grandmother's home, in one of her dining rooms, she has different paintings, and she actually has glass tea sets. And I was like, ooh, that's really great. I love those. They're beautiful, and they made me think of all the 1800s Regency type movies. And I'm like, hey, you know what? There's some really cool stories that happened in my family, and that would make for some really cool fiction. And so what happened is that I started a story that's mostly in the 1800s. It's about friendship and family and love and drama. Question number 2, does your story begin with characters, plot, world building, or something else entirely? That just really depends on what is inspiring me at that moment. Like I said, Tea House was inspired by one of my grandmother's dining rooms with her different tea sets and the paintings that she has that has tea sets in them, and my love of that particular era where it was very important that you had those types of things. So that's what inspired me. And also my family members, they inspired me to create the characters in my story. So yeah, I think it's more what inspires you in the moment, because it could be a character, it could be really anything that could just develop for you. Number 3 is a lot, so I'm just going to read it straight from the paper. It says, how do you puzzle piece your story elements together? Do you start your way from the ending and make your way to the beginning, or vice versa? So a lot of my writing projects, because I have currently 2 other ones that I am working on, which that project is called Savages, and then the other one is called Hunger, and they all have different ways of starting. So I started Hunger from the beginning and worked my way back to the start, and then I have Savages, which was done smack dab in the middle, and I've gone both ways to create that one. And then of course with Tea House, I did it in chronological order. So it just varies on the story and what you start out with, because if you start out with a character, you can basically start from anywhere. But if you start from like a particular moment, then it may be more like in the middle, or the ending going back to the start. So for me, it just varies depending on the project. Number 4, how do you know when you want to keep or toss a story idea? So for me, I had a very horrible experience. My first project is Savages, and I've been working on that for a very, very long time. And I made the stupid mistake of throwing away a couple of the manuscripts that I read. And so I was very hard on myself, and it was hard to get those moments back because I couldn't remember all of them. I didn't have a physical printed copy. It was all digital, and it was a mess. So now I don't do that. So when I start a writing project, or I just have a massive folder in my drive. I use Google Drive. So I have a massive folder that just says trash can. That isn't the actual trash can that comes with like Google. It is just trash can. And so if it's just like a generic idea, I will stick it in the trash can, and that prevents me from putting it in the real trash can. It's just that it's there and I'm keeping it. So each project has their own individual trash can in their own individual folder. So I never actually throw away an idea. I tend to keep it. That horrible experience scarred me for life, and as long as I'm writing, I will never do that again. I'm just going to read this one from the paper too. Number 5, how much of your original idea for your story is actually used once everything is finished? So for me, it just depends. Once again, I know it's going to get really boring, but it depends on the project. So Savages has stayed very closely to what I wanted it to be when I originally wrote back in high school. And then the Tea House has went over 2 revisions since it's kind of stabilized and stayed on the journey that it's currently on. And then Hunger, it is original. I haven't changed anything about the plot line for Hunger. So I guess it just depends on the project. You know what you need to do to change your story up. Number 6, do you share your book idea with friends, or do you keep it a secret from them? So for me, I share them with 2 of my friends. The first one is my best friend. Her name is Sarah, and she writes a completely different genre, and she does not branch out, period, from her genre. She does not like to do that. So I don't have to worry about her going into my sphere of writing because she's not going to copy my type of story because it doesn't fit the mold of the genre she prefers. And she is one of the most supportive and inspiring and just super sweet, and she's brutally honest. So when I hand her something tangible that she can read or bounce an idea off of her, she just gives it to me 100, and I never have to worry about her hiding it away or tokening it away, you know? So almost all of my ideas have ran past her, except for Savages, because I had already thought of that before I actually met Sarah. But she loved it whenever she started reading it, and so yay, that was nice. The second one is my cousin and also another best friend of mine. Her name is Hope, and I share my ideas with her. She is not a writer, but she loves to read my writing. She's loved Savages ever since I started writing it. She loves almost every one of my manuscripts, and she hates it whenever I toss it and don't continue and reboot it all over again. But she has been very sweet. She gives great feedback, and I love having her as a beta for all of them. The only one that she didn't really care for right now is my story Hunger, but I'm tweaking it. So maybe I can win her over because I won over Sarah. So we shall see. So other than those 2 lovely ladies, I generally don't like sharing information about writing projects unless I'm extremely confident in the material, because I feel that it can stand alone, and even if somebody got inspiration from me, theirs would be completely different from mine and would be amazing in their own right. So my 2 that I'm very confident in is The Tea House and Savages. Hunger, not so much, but I would keep that one a little bit more close to the vest. And I have some other minor little writing projects that I'm doing, and I would definitely keep those close to the vest. So yeah, it just depends really on the content. Number 7, have any of your book ideas started from a dream or a nightmare? And honestly, not until now, because I never thought to turn those into stories, because mostly they're dreams that I've had that I've written down in my dream journal, and it's just kind of mishmash because you know how dreams are. They're weird. And it wasn't until recently that Wendy did her video for this tag, and I was like, hey, you know, some of these would make for a pretty good story, or at least a pretty good movie if I was ever a screenwriter. So I decided to turn at least 2 out of the 3 major ones that I have into little short stories that I may share this fall. So I think that'd be really cool. I'm gonna read this one from the paper, and it says, have you ever had an idea for a story but then see a similar premise, book, TV show, or movie? So the answer for that is yes. So I started Savages back when I was in high school, and I started watching Supernatural because that's when it debuted, also in high school. So I was really saddened because they had a lot of similar core ingredients, and I was so saddened by it, but I also realized, hey, mine is completely different. This is about 2 brothers whose mother is killed by a demon along with their father. They join together to hunt the demon that killed their mother. And mine is about 2 sisters whose mother was killed, and ultimately the killer that killed their mother kidnaps one of the sisters, and that whole adventure. So it is different, but it's somewhat similar. So yes, I have had that. Number 9, have any of your favorite TV shows or movies sparked scenes in your book? The only one I would say, but it's been rewritten out, is if you've ever seen Underworld, there's a scene where Celine jumps down onto the road. I had that in Savages, but eventually wrote it out because it didn't have any bearing, but that would be the only time that that particular scene impacted any of my writing. I want to keep it as authentic as possible. The only thing that's really inspires me is really the props and sets and the costumes from different shows and movies. I'm like, ooh, that'd be so cool for them to wear clothing similar to that fashion, or the rooms be outlined a certain way like the way they are on the sets. So that does inspire me. Number 10. What's the oldest first story idea you remember coming up with writing down? So this would be a short story that I wrote back in like late middle school, early high school. It was back when Harry Potter had really first debuted, and me and my friend was really into it, and she actually realized that she was bisexual and she wanted to come out to her family. That did not go well, and instead it kind of, with a lot of people, when they do come out, they end up being closed off, and to try to bring her back out of her shell and know that she's still loved, because even though her family wasn't going to be there for her, my family and our friends and our circle was definitely going to be there for her, and I wanted something that would cheer her up, so I did an inspired romance fluffy short story for her based on two witches that go to a magical school and fall in love, and it was really sweet and it really cheered her up and really started me wanting to write different things. Hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like, comment down below your answers, or if you have a video, I definitely want to check it out. And don't forget, I do have my giveaway. There's a couple of days left in the giveaway, so go up here and click on that little card so that you can enter into the giveaway. I definitely want someone to win the amazing book of their choice, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and until next time, guys, bye.